why you decided to call me when you wanted to sell your home.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're the organizer of the Salt Lake Aquarium. So you were involved in a cycling community in Utah. I also knew you were a realtor because when you met, you did mention that. And when it was time to sell our house, I just went by my guts. I knew you were a great guy, so I'm sure you were also a great realtor. And when it was time to sell our house, we just texted you, and you were on board.
Awesome. Yeah. It's I always look for I try to look for ways to give back in the community, and obviously because I like cycling, that's one way I try and give back because it's a fun community to be involved in. Obviously, it's kind of addicting, and a lot of wives aren't very excited about it, but it's a problem for all of us. Well, cool. So before you bought the house 6 or 7 years ago, but did you have any perceptions about what a real estate agent did or how they acted before we started working together?
So, I mean, we've used a realtor to purchase a house before, and it was a great experience. I do have a bit of an addiction to Zillow and real estate ads in general, so I look at a lot of ads, and I see a lot of them that are absolutely terrible. Like, the description is just unappealing. The pictures, some of them are incredibly bad. Like you would not even want to step into the house, let alone buy it. So I know there's some real estate agents that just don't put in the work. I'm sure a lot of them do, but it's easy to just look at an ad and say, like, this is whoever put that together for their customer really didn't do the work that they're supposed to do.
Yeah. Okay.
What about you?
So I had a real estate agent previously, and she has retired, but she was wonderful. I brought her into our marriage because I was looking at a house before I met you. But she was an educator, and that was really great as a first-time home buyer. And it also meant that, like, as a first-time home seller, we were really lucky that Eric was also an educator and really accessible for us to ask questions to and get answers for, because the process isn't easy. It's why you need an agent. Yeah. It's really confusing.
Yeah, that's a great thing to repeat. Is as a real estate agent, this is something I do and discuss every day. But from the typical home buyer or seller, you do this transaction, which is very large and cumbersome, every 5 to 10 years. So from a realtor's perspective, it's no, these are common sense principles. It's no, they're not. They're not common sense principles, and most people don't discuss these things daily. So it's you gotta step back, you gotta slow down, and you gotta walk through the process, because it's a large process, and that's part of an agent and my job to make sure it's understood. So it's just not quick, and then there's miscommunication or there's missed expectations, things like that.
Did you say you want us to look at you or at the camera?
No, it doesn't matter. You can look at me. We're gonna edit it all, so don't even worry about it. So did you have any previous negative beliefs about the market or about the process?
I mean, all experience of just buying the house. It was. I don't think it's negative, but it's just it's so complex, right? There's as you mentioned, there's so much that we wouldn't know, because one, it's not a job, and two, even if when we buy a house, it's every few years. It's not every day, right? We don't fully comprehend the whole process, and our experience, even when we're exposed to it, it's once in every few years. So there's no way we could be specialists in it. So we definitely need guidance, and this is why for us the real estate agent is super important, because I personally wouldn't even know where to start to buy a house, because I had no idea how to get the title of the company, the other real estate agent, the visit of the house, etc. It's the whole process is just so complex, and also the stakes are really, really high. It's not going to a grocery store and buying a roll. It's a whole house. It's a lot of money.
That's true.
I was more worried about selling than about buying, just because when you're buying, you're going in and seeing pretty houses. But when you're selling, people are coming into your home, and especially with small children, like how often do you have to keep it clean? And that's really hard. But you made it really easy because of the way that you had us sell our house. And also, I think it was really good because, especially with COVID, just anything that we were worried about, you really were flexible around making sure that we felt comfortable with.
Awesome. So, you kind of already did this, but describe your experience working with us. I kind of already did, so.
Well, I was gonna say, you are so highly communicative, not just you, but your team. Like, it really felt like if we needed anything, that y'all were there and replied quickly to us.
The combination of laying out the plan in writing through your admin assistant, Janelle, and you being like super committed every step of the way, sending us reminder, making sure that, things like we know that we have an appointment the next day, and then we do send us a text a few minutes beforehand to make sure we're on time, that reminding us that, this person and that person will be at the house to do the work or to visit. That's really important, because to me, there's a lot of anxiety around buying a house, and there's a lot of steps along the way and you have to do everything in order. So the whole communication process, the constant, texting and email was really priceless.
You gave us really good advice too. I didn't even know the color of our house when we pressure washed it. Apparently it was a different color.
So Francois finally had fun pressure washing the house.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, so the advice you gave us on the things that they were important to fix. The fact that you came personally to our house to help me put that fence post that was supposed to be with a little bit of concrete. That was extraordinary. That was really cool.
And you worked around my travel schedule, which has been extensive.
Yeah.
Hey, being convenient and working around schedules, it's a task, but it's important to all of us. So good, awesome. That's all I got. I appreciate it.
Cool.
All right.
Good luck.